Howdy folks, it's AJ the Hunting Gear Guy, and this is the WK-181. This is similar to a WK-180. It is a Gen 2, so that means it has the side charger. But one thing you might notice is that the magazine well is missing. Well, it's not missing. It's made for AK mags and the rock and lock system that you run on an AK. So rather than having like the magazine release there, instead we've got a nice big paddle down here. So you saw that my magazine was empty. You see that the chamber's empty. Let's take a closer look at this thing. So on the Gen 2, we've got a couple of new features. The ambi safety, I think the original had that. I'm pretty sure it did. It didn't have this guy here though. That's the bolt hold open. So AKs, you pull it back, you press that bolt hold open down, and that will hold the bolt open, or you can let it go forward. It will not lock open on an empty mag because these are AK mags, and AK mags don't do that. Now aside from that, it's also got a new piston system, and I'll show you what that looks like. And this is that new gas system that I wanted to show you. Uses 2 pieces. The SVT uses 2-piece or 3-piece. It's very similar anyways. So this rod is separate from this double-sided cup kind of a thing. It's got this cup that goes over the piston, and it's got this other cup that goes over the rod, so that it can go, so that you can disassemble it. So it's still kind of a pain in the ass to disassemble. You still have to like squeeze them past there, but at least it's a little bit better than pulling them out at the front. Just a little bit. You still have to pull the handguard off, so keep that in mind. Now pulling the bolt out is pretty similar. We've got a cross pin right here. Pull that cross pin, push this. Holy crap, why is that so tight? Push, oh, I don't have the bolt back. Put the bolt forward so it's a little bit easier. And then you can pull the bolt out, pull the side charger out, do all that kind of stuff. That's good enough.
What is going on here? Breakfast!
Should reduce breakages of pistons. This rifle is actually one of this firearms testers groups, and it's almost closing in on 10,000 rounds, and it's still ticking, still firing rounds downrange. There have been a couple of parts breakages, springs, the buffer tube actually broke at the threads, like the threads mashed a bit, so that had to be swapped a couple of times. So there have been some parts breakages. I'll link to the presentation with the parts breakages and the round count over here. Personally, I ran 700 rounds through this thing, and it got through them all. There was no issues once I got it running. Now there's that once I got it running bit that's a bit ominous. Okay, so this fires 7.62 by 39. So most 7.62 by 39 is going to be corrosive. It's going to be corrosive ammunition. Some rifles, like SKS and that kind of thing, they have lots of chrome-lined parts. So it's very typical, like a Chinese SKS will have a chrome-lined chamber and barrel. which will resist corrosion almost entirely. You don't really need to do that great of a job cleaning out. You still need to clean the bolt and that kind of thing because it'll rust right away if you shoot it with corrosive. This thing doesn't have any chrome line parts, so you're gonna get rust on some of the gas system parts here, and you're gonna get rust in your chamber and in your barrel if you don't immediately clean it after shooting corrosive. So this chamber on this one was a bit dusty, a bit rusty, and when I want to shoot it, I had to fail to extract because that case got stuck inside the chamber. I think this is actually something that's going to happen to people out there that are shooting 7.62 by 39 rifles, is they're going to be shooting cheap corrosive. Maybe you'll forget to clean it for a day or two and damage is done. It doesn't take long at all for corrosive ammo to start getting attracting that moisture and attacking your steel. So that led me to one of my parts breakages, which was an extractor breakage. I think it led to that. It might have been something else, I don't know. But the extractor broke on it, and I needed a new extractor. Once the new extractor was in there, it ran just fine. So reliability-wise, for me, was okay. Still not AR, but what is in Canada here in terms of alternatives? We're really like stuck with a shit sandwich in terms of what rifles we can get that are reliable. Things like the RDB have their own bugaboos as well. The firing pins on those can cause slam fires or double taps and that kind of a thing. And I was just at a 3-gun match last weekend. Yeah, I guess that was last weekend. I saw all sorts of firearms fail, from like X95s to all sorts of other ones. The WKs do fail more than others because they break parts, especially like your Gen 1s. The Gen 1s, the charging handle would just break like in all kinds of different ways. The Gen 2 and the Gen 3 ones, the screw-in or the magnetic, they would all break. They would all break. Even the most recent screw-in ones would break. This system is just better. I don't really care whether it's non-reciprocating or not. This is non-reciprocating, but it's just beefier and it's just very smooth. This track that it rides in here is just really great for guiding that charging handle and making for a very nice, smooth cycle of the bolt. Now that does mean that you can't, like, there's no way to force anything forward, but if you're doing that, like, maybe you shouldn't be. Like Eugene Stoner didn't originally design the forward assist on an AR-15, but they can come in handy from time to time for the odd thing. You're not going to get one with this rifle. I don't know if I care. In terms of left charge, right eject, I love it because I'm a righty. If you're a lefty, maybe not. Notice this thing doesn't have a shell deflector, and yet it's okay. It's fine. There's like nothing wrong with like, you can see it in the finish, but like, would you think that's 10,000 rounds of steel-cased ammo hitting an edge of this thing? Not really, and yet that's what it is. So it's working just fine. So would I recommend one of these WK-181s? Well, the competition is the Type 81, which is going to be more reliable, more robust. But the Type 81, it's a little bit harder to get like optics on it. You need to get this weird like 2-pin rail system for it, whereas this has a rail on it. This one is quite easy to do that rock and lock, and it does run from these Magpul AK mags just fine. So it's got that going for it. It's got a little bit of like go fast parts in terms of that. But this isn't like a competition rifle in Canada for one simple fact. AK mags are pinned to 5. There are no pistol AKs in Canada. We're never going to get them. So we're only ever going to get 5-round magazines. So this isn't going to be competitive in like a run and gun action rifle kind of a thing. It is going to be very inexpensive to shoot. Maybe service rifle if you can get away with this kind of firearm in service rifle. Maybe not. I'm not sure, but it is interesting nevertheless as one of our AK mag running rifles. Oh, is it better than the M10X? I've heard nothing but bad things, but I haven't held one and I haven't shot one long term, so I'm not sure. But in any case, that is the WK-181. Thanks for watching.
Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and with notifications. We also have articles Thanks.
Oh, I left around in that one, didn't I? Yeah. Stop eating my beard hair.